Yeah.
All right. I don't want to lose. This is gold you're giving me right now.
Oh, what is it? I'm talking about Four Locos, and well, I'm gonna wrap myself out on here. I usually get up at 9, and I knew this meeting was coming. I had it scheduled and all that. No problem, right? Well, I'm waking up at the time we're supposed to. Actually, you woke me up. Hearing your message, your text woke me up. I'm just really worn out. I'm just doing too much, man.
No, I hear you, dude.
I slept good, so I apologize. Very unprofessional of me that it's not my style, but I'm here. We're making
You're
it
good.
happen.
You're good. I mean, do you want to? We can do some. We don't have to do all. You got a rehearsal to do, so we don't want to.
I think I just looked. I just got a message. Well, I just got it. I just saw the message from 3 hours ago. I think that we rescheduled for. Instead of Tuesday, Wednesday rehearsal, we're going to do Wednesday, Friday, which is great because I'm so out of it.
Yeah, okay. So it's been a while since we talked, several years now.
Several years, man. Been a long time.
And the last time you were talking about the actual fallout from the breakup and stuff like that, and it sounded to me from what you were telling me, I was just visualizing some fucking Mickey Rourke style darkness, in your life, and just like, what I mean, some David Fincher shit going on in your life there.
I don't know. I don't know about that. It was a pretty good time. I remember, but maybe not. Maybe I'm deluding myself. I don't know. That was when I think I did that record Loaded.
Yeah, that's right.
That was a good time for me because I had been writing consistently for a while, and since I had a lot of time alone because all my loved ones got tired of my shit and had walked away. I had time to work. So I don't know. For me, I was getting some press. It was good. I was getting some attention. I think
maybe my memory is foggy about it. By the way, when you were talking about, just to get through this hump of you haven't used Zoom, I've only, once I get onto something and learn how to do it, I stick to that. But I've had people that I've recently been doing some of these interviews, and everybody uses a different kind of technology sometimes. If they're not used to Zoom, they want to do FaceTime. I don't have an Apple phone, but I'm sure I can run the app on my computer.
Yeah.
And I've already got the Zoom set up to be able to separate both of our audio tracks. So when yeah, exactly. And when I'm editing, in case we stumble over each other, we don't miss anything.
That's great. I think it's fun.
But yeah, but the reason I'm also bringing that up is because I recall the last time we talked and you were putting Loaded out, or the singles that were working up to it. No doubt they're the same stuff that's on the record, but you were using your phone to do audio stuff on it. Give me the details on that, because that's interesting to me.
I stayed doing that. The details on that were simply all I had was an iPhone to record my music because I was dirt poor, still am, and I had to use the technology that I always had readily available to me, and that's what I was doing. I did that for a long time. I only recently have started to use a proper DAW, a digital audio workstation, to do my work, and it is heaven. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
I've joined the ranks with all the other sane people out there. But it's only been shit. I mean, I've been doing the phone recordings for a long time.
But you were using a DAW before that, weren't you? For the phone recordings?
Before that, no. I think we were using. We were using somebody's DAW. We would actually go to recording studios and do our work there. We didn't have one ourselves. We had like 4 tracks and 8-track analog recorders and things like that. These are the old days, it seems like. It took a while, though, to catch up to, with the technology. Before that, I did not have a DAW. I had one many, many years prior to that when I was in an electronic band called Channel 69. We used Cakewalk. Now that was in the 90s. So yeah, I don't know. Still kind of struggling a little bit. I got my coffee here. I'm trying.
Yeah. You're doing it. You're pushing through. I was talking to somebody about this recently because, let's face it, there's certain things that we don't want to do, but we got to do them. And then we've smoothed it over so often in our lives that it's like, oh, all you got to do is force yourself out the door, get into that momentum, and it'll be over before you know it. And you'll be, back home again, or, out of that swing.
Every day.
But then, it catches up with you when you do it every day, and you're like, you have no time for yourself. And it's just got to get a sponge bath on the way out the door.
I do have time for myself. And it's, between working and, doing my music and then working with the other band. I'm still, Channel 69, that's a band I started when I was a little kid. Mm-hmm. We still do stuff. We still play shows. We play, off and on, maybe 6 months out of the year. People love that nostalgia, and I'm happy to provide it for them because it's a good time. It's a nice break from my stuff. It's less responsibility. I'm not the lead singer in the band, so it's great. I can kind of be in the background. I like it.
Yeah. Now, is that who you did the what's more of infamous for the Silence of the Lambs single?
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. Man, I've got a new version of that, the one that I always intended to put out, because Channel 69 put that single out. I also put the single out. One has Rob Rowe from Cause and Effect singing on it, and the other one has me singing on it. But I always meant to have this little hook part in the song, but I never had the right sound for it. And I finally found the guitar sound for it.
Oh, okay.
It's been sitting here, and I'm ready to put that out pretty soon. I just need the $12 to put it out, my friend. But it's pretty good.
I've certainly heard yours. I'm sure that's the one that I listen to.
Yes. So I have a better version of that. I'll send you that too when we get done here.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why I didn't send it yesterday. I've got a few things I'm going to put out.
So everybody will catch up here, because this is the actual official recording that we have, putting it in the archives of us. You're talking about my experience of you. When I first met you, you were doing a show with Grass Fight at the Cavern.
Oh, wow.
First floor, main bar.
I remember, yeah. And I think the guy from Ishi, I believe I can't remember his name right now.
John Mudd, yeah.
God, that guy's a genius. He was doing sound that night. And he was right about to start doing the Ishi stuff, which I think is fantastic. I'm a big fan.
Yeah. He's got new stuff. He's got a new album. You heard it?
He does. I have heard some of it. Yes, I have.
What do you think?
The stuff I heard was great. It was really good. It's quality stuff. I think I want to say he follows me as of yesterday and the day before on Facebook. Okay. I, of course, followed him back, but I was really pleasantly surprised to see that because, I'm a fan.
Now, I'm not trying to, say that I've got any involvement in it. I didn't say, hey, John, follow this guy. But obviously, if he was running the board that night, he was already booking shows there too. So he knows about you and he knows about Grass Fight. That's what I'm putting together. The other thing though is, Grass Fight. So he had to obviously book them. I don't know who else was there. I think it was just you and Grass Fight that night.
I don't remember. I remember you. I remember him. I remember the sound check, and that's about it.
Patrick was there, right?
Of course.
Obviously, the main band, one of the main ones. All you guys are the main ones, obviously.
Well, there's just three of us: Paul Getz and Patrick Higgins and myself.
And you told me about what Higgins went through, and what a tragic situation. Yeah, I think maybe when you told me that, and then you with the breakup that you had, I think maybe in my head I was thinking like the worst of the worst.
Well, it was pretty bad. We've been through some shit for sure. Your daughter gets brain cancer like his did. He had to leave the band. We had to stop the band. Well, they stopped. Paul and Patrick did. I kept it going off and on. Not as consistently as I would like, but that's what happens when you get married. And, I wasn't playing any shows, so it just became a very personal project, not even intending for it to be heard by anyone. I mean, I also had to relearn a lot of things. I had to, get used to writing only by myself and writing all the parts, and then figure out how to make it sound halfway decent. And, once home recordings became a big thing with everybody, I really had to get in there and get my fingers dirty with figuring all that stuff out, and figuring out, audio and the science to that, which has been an ongoing learning process, which I just absolutely love. It's a lot, but I'm very thankful that we have the ability and capability to do that instead of having to go to a recording studio. It's great. So
when you guys did It's So American to Be Sad, right?
Yeah, we recorded it with Kimball Davis from Regal Dime. I don't know if you remember that band or not. That Dallas couple / duo. We recorded at their house.
Okay.
With them, that's when we did It's Not American to Be Sad. Yeah.
Right. But when you, in comparison with then and now, with your audio experience, I mean, it's all hands on at this point. But back then, it was probably like, yeah, we trust what you're going to do. Or, you weren't asking the kinds of questions. It sounded good. It sounded good. What do you think of the album now, when you listen to it?
I don't listen to it.
Oh, what? And would the rest of us have to? No, it's a good album. But
it's all right. I don't think it's got a lot of quirks, but for the time and for what we knew, I think it's fine. I mean, we were there hands on at every stage with that record. I'm not mad at it. I just I can't listen to it because of more of the developmental stage that we were at. Yeah. I mean, even as a singer, I was so new at being a lead singer in a band. I don't think I really found my voice just yet.
Literally.
So it doesn't sound like me. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like someone trying to find themselves, which I essentially was. So it's a little difficult to hear that.
Because you're working out the melody. It's separate from what's already there, right?
How do you mean working out the melody?
Well, for one, you're playing guitar. You're playing so one of the things I don't know is the writing. What's the contribution on the writing? Who's more capable of doing what, and what roles we're taking there? On top of that, you're saying, as a front man at the time, learning what that was or what that is. If you listen to it now,
it wasn't the process and learning to do that. It was what I mean is how do you, when you're a singer, has to figure out who they are. You will always mimic somebody else or other singers at first until you eventually just come into your own, and voila, you sound like yourself. I think that was still a period where there was a lot of developing going on in terms of that. Me trying to figure out, what do you want to sound like? What register are you going to sing? How do you enunciate these vowel sounds? These things are all important, And
that's what I mean also, because when you're writing your vocal parts to it, you're dancing with the melodies and the harmonies they're giving you as you're working through it. And kind of, because you don't want to ride the same ride that they're going on. You want to challenge it. You want to pull and push it and this and that as a singer. So learning that, or knowing that then, not learning it, but I mean learning it over time with just experience. Then and now, the process has obviously evolved, more or less where your spots are, what works, what doesn't.
I think so. Yeah. I'm trying to make sure that this phone doesn't fucking die on me.
Yeah.
Why are things happening this way?
Technology is supposed to make things easier, and it only makes things harder.
It really does, and I don't know why it's fighting me right now because I'm doing something important. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
So what's your question again?
No, it's just like I'm just looking at the writing process in your head, like compared to the debut album, and then the stuff because you're putting out a lot of stuff now.
Yes.
And it's always interesting to hear what the process is now in your head. You say you don't listen to that first album at all.
That's right.
But when you have, compared to what you have now, it's certainly not an anchor. It's
no, it sounds like a different human. It sounds like somebody else.
Okay.
Except someone who I'm like, that's not all that great. Music's good, but the singer needs to maybe work.
Get rid of the singer. You're even saying that. You're like, wait, I'm the singer.
The singer, you guys are good to go. Anybody will do. I don't know. It seems like vocally, I'm still doing that. I'm still finding things that are new. I'm still doing things that I'm surprising myself, I think. But I'm not looking for an identity. I'm not trying to figure out what that is because it's there. It's been there for quite some time. Because I think this stuff that I'm about to put out now, there were some things that I was very surprised by, and lyrically, I'm very surprised by some things that are coming out on these songs. I'm finally feel like I'm proud to print the lyrics that I write. It's taken a long time, but I feel like they finally are starting to. They have an identity of their own, and every line I stand behind and proud
the confidence.
Of. Yeah, man. And whereas before, that definitely was very difficult. I was trying to find myself in that way, big time. Yeah. It's an American to be sad. That was all just such an experiment. But it feels like less of an experiment and a little bit more of developing something that you have already discovered, just refining it now.
Yeah. Because I always see, like, I've actually only recently noticed this. I do a movie podcast on the side. We're on hold right now because I got a lot of editing I got to catch up on. But I noticed through a lot of conversations is that a lot of these directors will have been doing the thing that they're still doing. Like they had these ideas in drafts for a while and they tried them out in different movies. And then they get to the big one they really want to tell a story about, they're really passionate about.
Yeah.
And it's got all of those other things put into it. So you can tell that they've been working this stuff out and it ends up in this. So it's kind of like, oh, that's signature, or that's like, there's that pattern revealing itself. Right now with and again, just based off of the original album, because let's face it, Spiral Sound are two different things. With the original band, which is still, it still exists. You can burn the CDs all you want. You're going to have to kill me because I'm the one who's going to be able to wave the disc and be like, there's one left.
No, I stand behind it and I'm very proud of that. I'm good with that.
But have any of those guys worked with you on any of this new stuff at all? Is any feedback on that? Or
I wish that happened. Now I've put it out there.
Yeah.
Patrick, I think he's got a lot going on. He has said before, he's like, hey, if you want to work on something, send it to me, send me the files and I'll work with you. It just hasn't happened that way. I think that it's probably hard for Patrick to listen to. And in fact, I know this. Mm-hmm. As much as he's helped me out, he writes for the Fort Worth Weekly now. He's done a couple of record reviews that were, for me. but I think it's difficult for him to listen to my music because it reminds him of that time, which reminds him of his daughter who passed away from brain cancer, and I think that's very difficult for him, and it's totally understandable. So I try not to put him in that position too much.
Right.
But if he ever came to me, or Paul came to me and wanted to work, I would be pleased, because they were by far my most favorite people I've ever worked with. I got really lucky with those two, and I love them both very much, and I would love to do that, but we just haven't. Paul's in Austin right now.
Yeah.
That's where he's been living for the last 10 years or so.
Okay.
So I don't ever talk to him much, but I try to send him music and see what he thinks. Sometimes I get a response. Sometimes I don't. It's rare that I get a response, but it's always a big deal to me whenever I do.
Well, what about, I mean, not that things aren't going well enough where you or even have to do this, but assembling a new Spiral Sound band.
I would love to, but I just can't find anyone that will play, or that wants to dedicate the time to it.
We're not kids like that anymore. We're not, hey, let's join forces and put our heads together for something.
Well, yes, and yeah. Well, I think we are, and I think I run into a lot of people like that, but I don't know if no one likes the music. It is hard to find people that are dedicated. I also live in Weatherford, Texas now. Right. So there's not folks listening to any indie rock out here. The ones that I did find, they're super young and they got a lot of figuring out to do.
Yeah.
So I just think that I'm not privy. I don't go out at all. I mean, I come home and I work on the music, all the time. It's what I do. It's my whole life. I would definitely love for that to happen. I would be totally open to it. They would just have to, know that there's somebody that's holding the reins. I don't know how open I would be to songwriting collaboration.
Right. You've been doing it like this for long enough to where, it'll be recreational activity to do it versus, I have to, or something that, if this doesn't work, then it ain't going to work, or we're not going to be able to. Spiral Sound is doing good by itself right now.
Well, yeah, but I definitely feel like I need a lot of help. I need a team. I'd love to play some shows, and these things, especially getting shows, I never did that in the past. Never have done it. So I'm now at the point where it's like I'm ready to play. Have been ready to play, and I just don't know how to go about it. And I'm scared because I, socially am pretty damn awkward.
People aren't pointing at the guy in the room being like, that guy's creepy, call the authorities.
That would be me. Yeah.
No.
That's what I feel like anyhow. I totally feel like that guy. All the time. It sucks.
He's the guy on Dateline that were one of the people the person of interest. Right?
Yeah. God damn it. I think on Instagram, like the cover, one of the cover photos for a video that I was putting out recently, it's got like a fake police, a mugshot of me. And I look like I fit that role so well. I mean, it's just hand in glove, dude.
Wow.
I don't know if you've seen that or not. If you haven't, I need to send that to you. It's pretty fucking. I just look like I'm genetically like I've got the face, the attitude, the look on my face. It's like, yeah, that guy, he probably did whatever they have him in there for.
Yeah, he's guilty.
It's a fake. Yeah, he's guilty. I've got a definitely guilty face. Guilty face, probably more than a creepy face, but that's only me wishing it were that way. I don't know. Maybe it's the other way around.
So you've got like pushing a lot of singles out. The last full release that you did, for one, it wasn't because when you did Loaded, that was just like the single.
God, yeah. So there's been quite a few, man, since then.
But a meaty Spiral Sound album that is, you would say, is I mean, at this point, what would it be? Sophomore? At the most, you'd be doing EPs right now, right?
They're doing EPs and singles. I feel like people are not listening to records as much, to full albums as much. Also, feel like, because it's, I don't know if I'm just not prolific or what, but if I waited to, I can't wait to do a record. I'm always like so antsy to get the shit out and to let anyone who cares know that I'm still working, I'm still doing stuff.
Yeah.
So in singles and EPs, but I think for a while it was like, I was taking care of my mother while she was dying, and I could only do singles because I just didn't have the time.
Sure.
I didn't have a lot of time to sit and write stuff. Just wasn't able to. But I've got another thing coming up, and once again, it's an EP. But because I'm not going to wait to do a record. If I did, it just would be too long. But I also feel like that this record I'm working on now fits very well with the last one that I put out. So I'm like, maybe I should reissue this as a full length, and maybe so I'm debating on doing that because some of the songs on the previous release definitely deserve to be lumped into this bunch of songs. They sound like they're family members to me.
Bomb Bodies?
Totally.
Yeah.
So thinking of doing that, because I would like to have another meaty, bigger, group of songs together.
Yeah.
So I think I'm kind of toying with that idea. But either way, I want this thing done and out, hopefully by June 24th. At least that's what I'm telling everybody.
Yeah.
It's my mom's birthday, and I only have one more song to finish lyrics and to figure out this fucking chorus for, and then it's done.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited. I don't know what happened, but all these like tons of songs, like 5 songs came to me in like 1 week.
You don't even remember it.
I do remember it. I remember everything. I remember it happening. I have it, it's recorded. I recorded everything as it was coming to me. It was just on an acoustic guitar and all these fucking songs coming at me at one time. Yeah, I remember that. That's how it happens, though.
Yeah, so fast, so like sudden. And then you have like a rich piece of
lightning. It's like a fucking, it's beamed to you from somewhere. And whenever it's happening that way, I have to, whatever's device is closest to me that I can press record on, I do that. Because it feels like it's not me writing it. It feels like it's coming from somewhere else. Always does.
So if I were the pitch guy for you, I would say, okay, you've already labeled it as Django Pop, in a sense, but then tiny little Peter Murphy, vocals, and maybe we go from there. But as far as like, putting it out there like that and describing it as something that triggers people's interest in, these different things, you talk about, you say that a full album kind of thing, people are interested in that. I mean, a lot of the stuff that I get is still like full length records that people are doing. Yeah. I guess Bodies is basically, I look at an EP and I'm looking at 3 or 4 songs, maybe 5 at the most.
Yeah.
And this is pretty much like an album. It's not like you're cutting like a minute and a half songs on the thing.
True that, right.
So you're already, pushing that. You're already there.
I haven't even thought about how long that record is at all.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Because I like the conceptual records. I like the records that are from, I don't fully understand, as somebody who talks up singles and music and stuff like that. And I had I'm only now getting back to doing it because I'm realizing a lot of the stuff that I've already had built up, I got to tweak it here, tweak it there, and it's ready to go.
Yeah.
So the station, the website, the blog, all of that, or the podcast, all that is just like, okay, it's already, the templates are there. It's just boom, boom, boom. Let's go. Right.
Okay.
But when a lot of the stuff I'm listening to, it's like, okay, I get the idea of the single, I get the idea behind it, but I want to hear if it's part of a bigger story.
I do too.
You know,
well, I guess I'm thinking more. I'm wrong about nobody wants to hear albums because I want to hear albums.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel like a lot of people will listen to one song and put it on a playlist. That does happen, but there are still like, these old folks like us out there that want to hear a whole damn fucking record or at least an EP.
Mm-hmm.
But I think more I've been releasing things in that format because of the way that I had been working. The consistency in my life is so kind of rambunctious. It would be hard for me to do a record. Maybe that's a thing too. But I think I've just been less prolific. For some reason now I'm been quite prolific.
Mm-hmm.
But I've stayed with it. Things have been very steady and constant and at rest. So it's allowed me to be able to work more.
Yeah.
But my thing is the fear of, if I wait too long, is anyone going to forget me? Because it's not like I have a lot of fans, but anyone who is paying attention, I just want them to know that I'm still doing things because I'm not playing shows. So I'm not out there in the wild making my presence known. My presence is only known online now.
Even Richard James had to step out from time to time, and I'm sure he hated the fuck out of that.
Who's Richard James?
Aphex Twin.
Mm.
I saw him open up for Bjork, and I think it was 97, 98, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And the whole thing that we always thought about him was that he's very he's introverted. He lives in a warehouse or some kind of bunker, and he's got this big trash truck that he drives around in. Like maybe he's going to get shot at. I don't know if it's like, bulletproof or something. Yeah. And then he's like this weirdo who's just making these creepy ass sounds. And then one of them,
I know.
Yeah. We all want to be that guy,
Well, no, I don't. I'm tired of being creepy, actually. I'm sick of it. I'm really sick. You got to think, like being out in Weatherford, these people really don't know what to do with me. They're like, what is this thing?
Yeah. Yeah. You don't go around and say, I'm from Dallas, motherfuckers.
I just say I'm from Texas, and that does just fine. Good with that. They're provincial. They like that. But where are you from? I'm from here.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
No, I'm just saying that maybe what I'm talking about is more like the promotional aspect of things. Like you're talking about, old folks would probably be more tuned into the long form. Yeah. But look at these kids today. They're fine with and I don't understand. I don't know if it's coming from them or maybe I'm getting my signals crossed on this. Somebody can't complains about a 4-hour Lord of the Rings movie, which is already like, 20 years old.
Exactly.
And then they're sitting there binging out a fucking 7 hours or, more of a fucking show.
I just, I think, what are people, where do they listen to music? When do they do this? I don't know. Maybe I'm hearing from other musicians that no one has time for a record. I think the guy from Kurt from Information Society, he's a friend of Channel 69. So I think I was hearing him talk about this specifically, about the, just putting out singles, which conveniently for me, I was like, okay, that sounds good. That means I can just do a little bit here and there. All right. But is that true? I don't know because I don't fucking hang out with anybody. I don't talk to anybody at all. Yeah. It's really weird. Actually, it's becoming really strange. I think I have no contact with other humans really, other than like a gas station. And what I do for a living, I wait tables, and so I'm constantly in contact with other people.
Yeah,
but they're not talking to me about music because they don't listen to the kind of shit that I do.
It sounds like more of a person of interest situation to me now. Not sure, but the Well, think about this. Like, suppose you sat down and had this conceptual thing, right? I'm not saying that every album has to be a conceptual thing.
Well, there is a conceptual thing right now, which is why I'm taking Bodies, and I'm taking Bodies and putting it on this next release because it totally lumps in with the subject matter and the theme that's going on. It's not a concept record, but it's definitely got a theme going on there.
Okay.
I think it definitely belongs with this bunch of songs, and it is one of the more recent songs that I've written that was on that last EP. So I'm definitely putting that on this record, period.
Right. Okay.
It belongs. And it's because, the Bodies EP actually has songs that are from pre-loaded. The last song on there was it was never recorded the right way, and I tried to do it some justice, and I failed again. But I tried. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so there's songs scattered all throughout on that record. But Bodies was one of the more recent ones. Yeah, and Bodies, the first song is what it's what is it? Daddy Longlegs. That was the first track uploaded. But see, these were phone recordings, and I think that's a great song. I thought it should be recorded the right way.
Yeah.
So maybe that belongs on this new release. I don't know. But you see that there's songs scattered and they're spread out from all these long periods of time.
I mean, it's not like, and you know this better than anybody. Sure, there's this, everything is outside of the box. You can think outside of the box about things. I talked to a whole bunch of bands recently who have, they have their main album and then they put it out. They re-release the album as a remix record.
Yeah,
with people contributing different remixes on the thing. And I asked them, and I don't know if it necessarily registers, at least with one of these guys, where I was like, so when you hear it, you know what you were going for on that first album. Because let's be honest, when you're sitting down and making a mixtape, even if they're not your songs, you still want a certain kind of flow through it. Maybe this doesn't work after this track or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same thing at the very least. That's what it is when you're doing that.
Yeah.
And so when it's like remixed like that and somebody still has to assemble it, but it turns into a completely different interpretation of what you initially intended. I think what I'm saying is in every case, I think you can't even accidentally not put something together that doesn't have some kind of conceptual thought process to it from beginning to end. Now, the listener might listen to this single or that single and not even think, and I know this has happened to me, and it probably still happens because I don't always think conceptually of it until I'm listening to the whole thing in its entirety. But you listen to the singles and without them really thinking about, okay, the artist or, the musician, the artist, the creator has an idea. This is part of a bigger thing. And when you put it together, it's part of a bigger thing. You're not held back by just, what I'm saying is that you build a whole big picture, right? And then you cut it up into puzzle pieces, and then you pitch out every individual puzzle piece, like every individual single. And you don't break up the flow of your idea. Because,
or do they?
Well, that's up to you though, not them. I mean, they consume it the way you give it to them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I don't know. Is that what they're thinking of when you put out a remix record? I haven't known anyone who has. I don't know anyone who's personally done that. So they're taking the whole album track for track, and someone will remix each song,
right?
Like remix it in terms of like the versions are different. They're like a edits, and like not remix like they just mixed it again, but a remix like a. Like someone has put out a rock song, so now they're going to do a remix so that they can play in the clubs. Is that what you're talking about?
Something like whatever their version of that thing would be. For instance, you're like, and this is how I imagine it works. Some of these guys, they already know the artists that they want to send these to because they've been working with them on shows or doing tours with them or whatever.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, do you guys mind remixing this thing or remixing a track from my album? Or I don't know what the questions would be, but I'd imagine that, we listened to it and we like this. We want to remix this one, or we'll remix that one. Yeah. Let me send you the tracks and you guys do what you want with it. You know?
I got a friend that did a remix for me of a song off of one of the last 3 records. Yes, I understand.
I just had an interview with Richard Bennett of Roman Angelos, and he does a space age kind of Esquivel, Martin Denny, Les Baxter, Exotica stuff.
Okay.
And
I don't know any of those bands those people that you just mentioned, because I'm so out of the fucking loop.
Well, 1950s instrumental Exotica music, you're drinking zombies, you're drinking tiki torchy drinks.
That sounds fucking fantastic.
You don't know any of that stuff?
I know. I sure fucking know.
Lounge, ultra lounge,
No.
I'll send you some stuff, but
Please do.
But it
seems like I don't listen to a lot of music anymore. Having contact with other people is cost me a great deal. Anyway,
well, I mean, this stuff is older than you and me.
True, but even like exploratory stuff. Like I personally, seems like I rarely listen to music, which is really odd that I write it.
Well, but that's also look. It based off of what I'm hearing off of your releases. That's an interesting position to be in, and it's outside of the box thinking. And I think what you're just telling me right now, what you're revealing here, is getting down to the secret as to how unique your stuff is and how great it is, because you don't have anything that will influence your ear or your mood or your approach to things.
I try not to. Yeah, so it's subconscious/conscious decision right there. I mean, there's definitely music that I listen to. I do discover new things.
Yeah.
All the time. Not very much. There is definitely periods though where I try to keep myself from listening to a lot, especially a lot of current stuff, because I don't want that to happen. I don't want it to affect me. I know my stuff sounds like it like maybe doesn't belong in a certain era, or it's not it's not current, but it's not current, because I want it to be singular, or right. I want to keep myself from being influenced, for sure. Yeah. That's definitely a damn thing. I didn't, what you just said, it's so great and all this. I don't know about all that.
I'm telling you, as a guy who's insulated,
not very great, judging by like the responses that I don't get anywhere. So I don't know what the deal is. I stand behind it. I like it, but it's so hard for me to find other folks who feel the same way. It seems to me.
My job would be so unfair. My job would be to describe it to you in a way that you understand how appealing it is from this end.
Man, I wish that. I wish I knew that. I don't know this,
and
I feel like I've been beating a dead horse or something, or that I'm doing something that folks are not interested in, regardless, because I haven't really garnered a lot of interest from other folks.
Yeah,
it seems like I'm putting out these records so that I can listen to them, which is virtually true. Well, it is true. That's what I feel like I've been doing, but it's really getting old. I especially with the stuff now, I am always going to feel proud of current stuff that I'm working on. I would love for people to be involved, because that is essentially why I do music.
Right.
Is to affect other people or try to enhance their mood or make them feel something maybe they haven't felt before, or maybe get in tune with something that's like hidden inside themselves, and I want to connect with people that way. And I'm not able to, or if I am doing that, I am not aware of it. But that's the main reason why I do music, is to fuck with someone's emotions,
Now,
their state of mind.
Now, what I like to do whenever I listen to this stuff is I like to kind of get it in my head, or get the sense of what the thing is I'm hearing, what it is, how do I connect with it? Where's my experience? How do I apply it to that? What what's pulling me in about it that's totally me, and let me guess if that's totally them. You know what I mean? Like, part of the conversation we're having right now is to kind of pin down where you're coming from on this. And
you just said it.
Yeah. And as far as like, just to tell you about this Roman Angelos guy, as far as like talking about his influences. Now, his influences aren't necessarily, I know those sounds. I know that old stuff that motivated him. We had a nice conversation about our influences on that level, and talked about different producers and talked about all this stuff. And as much as the packaging and the titles and the presentation says this thing, what I'm hearing, it's definitely coming from that place, but it's totally unique to what they're doing. And it can certainly be like, check out some of these albums he's got. His first one is each track is like a minute track, like 8-bit, anyway. And it's called Spacetronic Lunchbox. Then he's got another one called Italian Soda, right? Italian horror films, or, Italian movie cinema anyway.
It sounds like somebody, I got to catch up with this dude. I have to hear his music. It definitely sounds fascinating to me.
Now, as far as the remix stuff goes, his last album, check this out, it's called Music for Underwater Supermarkets. The title alone just tells you what, already has your brain frothing, right?
Yeah, I love it.
And then the remix album is just called Supermarkets Underwater. And it's that's the thing. That's one of the things I asked him about. Like, what do you hear that's different from it? And he picked up on certain things that the person remixing that album was doing, that he's like, that's a bold approach to interpretation of what I was going for. So the person totally makes it their own. So I'm just saying that, I think it's very interesting. It's almost like cannibalism to be able to feed off of each other. And if we're not getting any external influences, we're in our insulated spots and still being able to develop something new out of it. I've always had that fear that maybe by doing that, things degrade over time. It's kind of like a copy of a copy of a copy, but that's not the case.
No, I don't think so at all.
Yeah.
I mean, because, regardless of how you're doing it, you're in some way, you're doing it like that to a degree, which Patrick Higgins said something that always stuck with me. And he, it's like he sees it as just like a tree with all these branches that are connected to each other. And that's how, I visualize music and other, other artists being connected to each other and feeding off of one another. It's not a thing that degrades. It's just a thing that we are all sharing. And you need that. I need other music to feed off of, for sure. Now, granted, I try to limit my intake because I feel like that affects my output.
Sure.
But it's all related. Without, there's a lot of times, like, if I hadn't heard something else, I would have been inspired to even get off my ass to make something. Mm-hmm. So I think it's very important. I think it's a very good thing that we feed off of one another. In fact, when we're having this conversation, it makes me realize that, damn, man, I wished I was connected more to other people and what they're doing, because that's so important to get the creative process going in your mind. Because sometimes I feel like there's dry well there. It's like, am I feeding off of the same old things again?
Yeah, and what I want to do is, like, all your stuff, all your work is like, I want to be able to build up build up a certain, like, what's the idea, and try to translate that. But that's my job, though, right? So
you mean like what is the like the grand scheme of things?
So I'll grab one of your tracks and I'll talk about it. I'll grab one of your tracks and talk about it and be like, what is this thing and how does it have anything to do with all these other things? And what am I feeling about it now? Just having the conversation, right?
Yeah.
And during that period of momentum, be able to attach other things to it, maybe in every way sell it to be like, this is what this is. And because I'll have these conversations with people a lot where I'm like, dude, I just heard this thing today and blah, blah, blah. And they'll be like, all right, I'll check it out. Well, fucking check it out now. Or, something. I don't know.
Yeah. They always say they'll check it out. They will not.
Yeah.
Unless you give them a fucking CD. I found just, really quickly, I definitely I want to reprint some CDs again for this release, because I did find that I just handed out like 100 copies for free to people, but every person listened to it. If I go and tell someone, though, hey, check this out, here's a link to Spotify or whatever, here's a YouTube link, blah, 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 they won't listen. They won't check it out. But if you give them a CD, you give them something physical, they will. I am definitely interested in doing that again. Anyhow.
Okay. Maybe you can
do it now, right?
Yeah, maybe you can do a, some people will do CDR orders or something. Just burn.
No, I will. Yeah, I get like a good deal. It's like 100 for $100,
right?
And they do great work. So
yeah, okay.
I'm definitely going to do that again.
Okay, I want one. I want one.
Definitely.
So let's see. When are we looking at this next release? You're saying
so June 24th is when I want it out. That's
your mom's birthday, right?
Okay. So that's when it needs to be finished, done. That's my goal. I usually meet my goal.
Yeah.
Now, as far as getting an actual physical copy out, that's another thing that just is about money and time. I would imagine it would probably be at the least maybe a month after that, because it takes them a couple weeks to get those CDs done. But I would like for it to be before or around that time. But no one is chomping at the bit to get their hands on one of these. So it's not like I have any pressure to get it out and get it done. But personally, I would like to have those CDs in my hand at the end of at the beginning of July, end of June as well. That's my goal.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to meet that goal. It all depends on the public and how busy I'm going to be and how much money I'm going to be making and that kind of jazz. But I would like for it to happen that way.
So Christian, let me ask you this, and this is just a thought, because so I'm a caregiver. And I go over to a friend's place and we watch a whole bunch of stuff on TV. I do cleaning or whatever, but then I do that. And she watches a lot of these reality shows where I hear this fucking background music that's like so easy to do. Have you considered doing, like, just as a job, I would love to. That kind of stuff. Like, what would you call it? Stock music? Or
I would love to do that. And I have thought about that. But I don't know how to get into it.
Yeah.
But I would totally be into doing that. I would love to do it. And I've thought about the same thing. I just don't know how I would get into it.
Yeah.
But I think it's more about maybe who you know kind of thing. I don't know. I do know a guy that has some connections in like the movie world. I don't know. He is a guy who used to be in Channel 69. He still kind of is, I guess. But he lives in Los Angeles and does all that. But I don't know if that would be. I'm not trying to actively get into it. But if there was an opportunity to get involved and do, the background music for these shows, or I would totally be into doing that.
Yeah. There's a because you already got a portfolio there of sounds of work that you can like, put out there or basically share to them, or, just do like a Creative Commons licensed thing that you could just put out there for your portfolio. I'm just saying that because as far as, somebody who is putting work out that they really, inspirational or stuff they're really motivated by and putting it out there, and these conceptual ideas that we've thought about. I mean, this is exciting stuff, right? It'd be great to just do that full time,
It would, I think it would. Would it be like what I feel? I think I'd feel like maybe I'm selling Spiral Sound short or something.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. But I mean, I think.
Now, are you talking like this is just music, no vocals, no lyrics,
right? Right, just and like maybe you see let's say that for instance, you're watching a show and you just make music to it, and then you send them in that and be like, hey, I saw this episode of this thing, and this is the music that I made for it. Just as like, in this kind of market or that kind of market, what I mean, people, impulsively do weird portfolio stuff, and it's just a matter of what stands out, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, it's something that I wouldn't know how to do that, first of all, but I would do it, is what I'm saying. Yeah. I just haven't thought about like actively pursuing that, because to me, writing and working on any music, I'm kind of selfish with it. I want it to be for release. I want it to be something for, that I put out. I'm not wanting it to be, existing only in the background somewhere.
Right.
Not to that point yet.
Maybe
now,
like
if someone hired me to do it.
Yeah.
But if I'm writing, it's going to be for me. I'm a little too selfish with it.
Yeah. I don't know, man. You sound like
I wish I had the time to like just do spare music on the side, and but I don't do a lot of spare music.
Yeah.
It's either going to be really fucking good or I'm not fucking with it.
Sound like you sound like a composer to me, bro.
Well, what is that?
That's a composer. You're like the John Williams of Weatherford.
Who's John Williams?
Who's John Williams?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I don't know anything.
You are isolated. My goodness.
Totally, man. No, really, who is this?
You don't know who John?
No.
Okay. John,
who is this?
Film composer, E.T. What's E.T.?
Oh, okay.
Indiana Jones, Star Wars,
Yeah. Oh, shit. That's who it is, huh?
Yeah.
I've never known his name.
John Williams, the most.
God, that's so terrible.
The most simplest name you can find. There's like, look up, you'll get the phone book on Johns, you'll get the phone book on Williams.
Jesus, man. I've never known that's the name of the guy. He doesn't get nearly enough praise, I don't think.
Oh, no, he gets all the praise.
Maybe it's because I haven't watched television since 91 or something.
What? Wow, dude.
Maybe that's why. Yeah, I can't do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Here I am. I feel bad with this projector I got. This projector screen I got here.
Like it's something they're going to be sad was all about the war and shit. So you can tell like what I'm paying attention to. This album is kind of loosely like based on like some shit that's going on in Ukraine with Russia. Yeah. I'm probably like watching the fucking news somewhere. Now let's say I say loosely. It's more about like the war really is like within yourself sometimes, and I think that's what's happening with me. Yeah. But I think it's ironic that I pay so much attention to the war in Russia, but maybe very little to the one that's going on with me personally. I think it's a lot of fucking people. Yeah.
And I've had those periods where, it's not necessarily that deep in, but those moments where I'm like, okay, the war in Iraq after 9/11 and stuff, I'm like, I'm learning everything here. I'm learning everything about Syria, I'm learning a lot about. I'm not learning it that vigorously with Russia and Ukraine as I did with those other ones.
Interesting, because it's I think Syria, you have more groups of armed people that don't have a whole lot of funding, but then you've got two modern armies that are very well equipped, and they're killing each other in this way. And I mean, the carnage is just fucking it's unbelievable. And the precision weapons that they're using, these things hit from miles and miles and hundreds of miles away, and their targets, their mistake would be within a meter. And these dudes are in trenches. So what's happening? They're getting slaughtered.